We all have or have seen or have been given grandma's quilt. I've still got a few of them in the closet somewhere, and I still have to say they're probably the most comfortable piece of bedwear anywhere, and they're so versatile. You can put them on the floor, put them on a bed, put them on a couch, and it makes a comfortable place to lay. The thing about grandma's quilts is they don't always have the aesthetics that we might have designed them with. Quilts are usually made up from patches of leftover fabric and pieced together, and they may or may not have a designated pattern or design. Sometimes they're just splotches of patches sewn together to serve a purpose. It's kind of like the makeup of our beings, whether we realize it or not. We collect these patches that become part of our personality, part of our being, part of our traits. And it starts in childhood and it goes on throughout the years. And they just become a part of us. The question is, how are you arranging your patterns? Because see, some of these patches that we collect are not necessarily positive. They're not necessarily beneficial, because you collect traits, protocols, mannerisms, ideas, even from your enemies. Question is, how do you organize them or arrange them, or do you even keep them? And sometimes we are moving through life and we are carrying these patches. They're just pinned, safety pinned to the quilt, because we haven't sewn them in yet. We don't know where they fit. We're just carrying them. And even though we haven't placed them, this is what people see. They see our quilt. They see our design or not. So the question you have to ask yourself is, what does my quilt look like to other people? Is it just a bunch of random patches that do affect me because they've been collected over the years? They have become part of my personality, my being, my person, my mannerisms. So therefore they do have effect. But do they represent the design, the pattern that I want to transmit? What does my quilt look like to other people? See, because quite often we get under the quilt to keep us warm or to keep us comfortable. We're not looking at the top of the quilt. We're underneath those layers of buildup that we've collected. And we don't really know what it looks like. We didn't design it. We didn't walk around and look at it. But everybody else sees it. And if your patches aren't in place, if your design isn't there, if your pattern doesn't represent anything, then it just looks like a bunch of ragtag, leftover pieces. And this is not what we are. Don't allow yourself to be just a patchwork. Be a design of your own self. What does your quilt look like? Thoughts from the basement.